What's up, waves? Welcome back to Anime Lane, the podcast where we take you down the yellow brick road of anime and have a look at everything it has to offer. As always, I'm your host, Rob Notorious, and join me once again today are Shaun.
Hello.
And Melina.
Hi.
On today's episode, we're witnessing Jehovah in Patlabor the Movie, directed by Mamoru Oshii, written by Kazunori Ito, music by Kenji Kawai, animation production by IG Tatsunoko under the headgear banner thing. Look, if you've seen it, you'll know. Released in Japanese theatres July 15th, 1989. It is licensed in the UK by Anime Limited and in the US by Sentai Filmworks under the Maiden Japan label. Maiden as in maidenless, not maiden as in maiden. Again, my voice doesn't allow me to make a distinction.
Get fucked with that accent.
just do it in an American, maybe that.
No.
Even worse.
It is available on home media from both companies. For Sentai, you can pretty much just only buy it in the complete box set. That's the only reason I'm actually mentioning the home video thing, just because, you know, if you want everything for a really good price, yeah, get the Sentai one, because it's also Region B compatible. So, you know. And then we're fighting to the death in Battle Royale, directed by Kinji Fukasaku, written by Kenta Fukasaku, son of director Kinji Fukasaku. I don't know why I made that note. Music by Masamichi Amano, based on the novel by Koshun Takami. It is released in Japanese theatres December 16th, 2000. It is licensed in the UK by Arrow Video and in the US by Anchor Bay Entertainment. Yeah, our first ever live action.
Yeah, new territory.
Branching out the old lane there, going down a little side street, yeah. I guess. But yeah, we talked about, like, we had one conversation about the idea of bringing in a live action thing, and then what we had planned for this episode, we had to change very quickly when we realized we fucked up, because we had said we would do one of the things we were going to cover in a collab with someone. And so yeah, I had to very quickly pull in a list of ideas to present and, you know, have us all decide. And so yeah, I picked some live action stuff because we had one conversation the week prior.
Because that's how we do things.
Yeah. And yeah, I thought, cool, I'll put in some live action stuff. So yeah, there'll probably be more live action stuff to come in the future, but for now we're starting with one of the most infamous movies from Japan, Battle Royale. So I don't know where we want to start. If you want to start with Battle Royale, or if you want to get Patlabor out of the way, because I know you probably fucking hated it, Melina.
You
Hate's a strong word.
No, hate is not a strong word when it comes to mech stuff.
No, dislike is my
No,
general.
you
it's like baseline dislike.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with it. That's how I would
Get that thing away from me.
Ew. Ew. I don't know, like, it's like you watch a movie where you're like, I understand that it works, but I cannot be bothered.
I love how you've said this about the one where the Patlabors themselves show up the least, like, by far.
Like, this is barely a mech movie.
Yeah, this is a detective mystery at, you know, for the most part of the runtime.
I had the exact thought halfway through watching it, like, there's barely any mechs in here. Melina's still gonna fucking hate it.
I don't know, because we watched the series, and like,
well, no, we haven't. We've watched the OVA.
Oh yeah, the OVA, and
it's a series.
Yeah.
It's not the series though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a series of things.
It's good to make the distinction for those that have seen both.
Yeah.
And I just felt that we got to know the set of characters, so I'm happy we watched the OVA first. But then here they just felt so muted and just meh.
I think it's the difference of, like, a sort of, I don't know how to describe it, a different genre almost. Because what you have is, the OVA is like Mamoru Oshii directing an episodic thing, which sort of, I guess, is him going back to his roots of being like working on TV shows like Urusei Yatsura. And then you have, like, the movie and the other movie that we'll talk about next month, being him working on movies where he's a very different director, because like this has more of a relationship with Ghost in the Shell almost than it does with the thing that it succeeds, which is the OVA series.
Definitely. Like, just to sort of jump in a little bit, there are a lot of mainly the sort of long panning
Mhm.
shots of like Tokyo in general, and just like the long quiet moments where I was like, oh yeah, this is the guy that directed Ghost in the Shell.
You know, that sort of like it's used to a different effect here. But you have, like you say, the long panning shots and like just watching them sort of navigate the city while Kenji Kawai's score
Breathing everything in.
kind of puts it under, because I think it really tries to paint a picture of like this version of Tokyo by doing that, but also like the sort of dead endness of the pursuit of Eiichi Hoba. So yeah, like it's not that much of a mech movie.
No, it is.
No.
I don't know what it was about it. I think because it started just kind of dropping you into this like situation, so to say.
And media res. And media res. Though kind of not, because it is still the event that comes before, which is weird.
Yeah, no, it was just a choice, and I did like the premise of it, but there was just some bits where I'm like, I'm not feeling grasped enough, and I don't know if it's just the character's just feeling flat, or
I think it's like the more solidified characterization of everyone. Also, some characters just don't play a role in the movie. Like Ota's there, but he's kind of just his character. That's it. There's no character arc for him. It's the same with Big Dog.
Yeah,
Big Dog.
Big Dog.
Dude.
I missed Big Dog. I was like, where is the bro? He was so cool. He didn't do anything in the OVA, but man, he was a bro. Where is he?
It's just,
Is he safe? Is he all right?
But yeah.
Also, wife guy like only has like a line or two.
Yeah,
That's it. Like a lot of the characters kind of, I think, reasonably get pushed to the side because it's an ensemble cast, and to do an ensemble cast in a movie like this, I think would have been too distracting. It already kind of got a little bit distracting in the OVA when there's only 7 episodes and all these, you know.
I also I'm not gonna mourn less Ota because I don't like Ota as a character. He's just a dick.
That's fair. I think for what we've seen so far, that's understandable.
If he gets better in the series, I'll change my mind. What we've seen right now, I don't like Ota.
Yeah,
I kind of want him to get fired.
But I think like for, you know, particularly Asuma and Noah, thank you. Don't know why I blanked her name. Michi was coming to mind, and that's not even any character we've seen today for these episodes we're recording today. I think it's like a solidification of characterization, at least from for the Oshi versions of these characters. But also I will say them being muted isn't a bad thing for me because it doesn't infantilize Noah, which I'm always gonna, you know, praise.
I think a little bit. I didn't know that it was a little bit.
She is childlike, but she's not infantilized. But that's just her personality, and I think there's a difference.
She's not an actual like 6-year-old in the body of like, I don't know how old she's supposed to be, like 19, 20.
Probably. She's probably like 22 or 3. Because remember, she's got to have gone through like
gotta have
police school and
so,
whatever the fuck.
But she's not got the personality of an actual 6-year-old. But like, I don't know. I'm sort of mixed. I like that she's not infantilized, but I also sort of feel where Melina's coming from with the characters being sort of muted, because it felt like a bit of Noah's personality was just sort of sidelined a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a way we could have like had her personality more without her being, you know, infantilized the way she was in the OVA that the movie doesn't quite do.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just because like she's not the main character in this one. Like it's very much Asuma takes the stage.
And I will say his I mean, he's still sort of how he was in the OVA, but like a little bit muted, and that I'm okay with.
Yeah,
that I think works really well for the movie, and I was fine with that. So again, a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to that. Overall, I really like the movie though.
Yeah,
I think I think you're right that she's not infantilized, but I think she's written a little too childlike in this, especially when you put it next to like Asuma, who's kind of muted and a tiny just bit more chill. It's a lot to balance, especially in like the restaurant scene when they're having dinner together. It just felt off balanced, where I'm like, if we got more time with Noah, where we kind of got to this is her personality, instead of jumping in and being like, oh, this just feels strange to me.
I think I know better how to like say my thoughts now. It feels like Noah has less agency than she should throughout the whole
Yeah.
plot. We only get that near the end of the movie when she's in the mech, and that point that was really cool. I really liked that. But like for the rest of the movie, she's basically playing second fiddle to Asuma, and it's just kind of sucks because again, going off the OVA, she felt like she was supposed to be the main character, and then she wasn't the main character.
I think it is like that. That is sort of an issue with the OVA and the movies, is that the OVAs definitely frame Noah as the main character, whereas the movies kind of do things differently. Like here it's Asuma, and in the next movie it's pretty much Goto and the other unit leader, Nagamo. Because so it is weird. Like I like it because it does give you an opportunity to see more of the characters, because in the OVA series, like Asuma kind of doesn't do anything. He's just sort of there
until like the two-parter coup plot,
and even then he's just the guy. He's the normal guy.
He's the Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
He's there. He is main character. What does he do?
He helps.
Kind of. More by circumstance than anything.
Whereas at least this movie plays with like the whole setup of his character of like him being the son of the mech company CEO guy.
I'm glad that's actually got importance.
Yeah, which I still think they could have played a little bit more with the dynamic of them, because like his dad never actually shows up in the movie. He's only mentioned.
I feel like a confrontation between the two would have been like a clash of worlds almost, and would have been so interesting.
I think it just sort of comes down to like the way the movie kind of goes about like dealing with the kind of not endless chase but dead end chase. Like there's no real antagonist in the movie.
No, not really. Because unless you count the virus itself.
It's sort of like, you know, the whole movie, Hoba's dead. We find that out only really at the end. There's that sort of like you're led to believe he's dead throughout most of it, and then there's that like twinge of he may be alive.
Like maybe he faked it, but then at the end it's like, nah, he's dead.
So there's like a kind of I don't know the right word to describe it, but like you end up with not finding his motive. You don't really know what drove him to do it and why these people ended up getting sucked into this story. It's sort of, and I think it's like kind of reflective of the real life experience of police, where like that just sort of happens sometimes.
Like you can have so many leads, but like if they all end up in dead ends, you're fucked.
And like sometimes you will close a case, but it doesn't mean you've got a nice answer.
In a plot like this, like you've stopped the main like threat, which is like, you know, all the laborers going like insane and stuff from the virus and all that, with the wind as well, which that's wow. That's quite the plot when you really think about it. But like, then this is something I talked about you as well. I did feel kind of unsatisfied with like the fact that we don't know why he fucking did all this.
Was it a laugh? Like, I just thought it'd be funny if they
I asked you right after I watched the movie, and you just went, he was nuts.
That's like the only kind of takeaway you can kind of because I said like it's that simple, and I went, well, it's not really, because if you look at it, like we don't know why, and we never will. It's you just kind of have to speculate.
It's a fucking glass onion. That's what it is. Like, not sponsored.
Like you kind of have to just take what the movie gives you, and that's he kind of reveled in being called Jehovah.
He had a god complex.
It kind of gave him a god complex, and he went a little bit insane. Built a whole place around the Tower of Babel.
Which, you know, second time that's come up, by the way. And like twice in a row for our recording sessions. Isn't that fucking something?
Welcome to the religious season.
No.
I
don't want to find God. He's icky.
I'll find you first.
Oh, man.
As soon as that popped up on like the virus screens, like Babylon, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake!
Well, I mean, it should have been a dead giveaway when they mentioned the Babylon project.
I was holding out hope. I was like, not again.
Because it's like early in the movie where like Asuma and Noah are being taken to meet Nagamo because she's testing the new labor. and like they suddenly bring up Babylon Project and went, oh yeah, that's where this movie goes. Also, the actual, like, at the end where they're, like, jettisoning the levels of the tower, you kind of see the like, schematics, and, like, that shit don't make sense.
Nope.
No.
Like, structurally, design...
That is peak anime complex design.
Yeah.
Like, that is... You know what that is? That's a Mega Man, like, final area. That, like, you'd have a boss rush in there.
Purely built for the wind resonance.
For the wind resonance and because it looks cool.
It doesn't, though.
It's
Like,
supposed
it's
to
a
look
mess.
cool.
I could just imagine an architect watching it and be like,
Who designed that? Who approved that?
let me look at a few things. let me do a quick Google.
The government. To get like way back to like the point where like I felt sort of unsatisfied by the fact that like we didn't find any answer, and that can work in a story. I think that's fine. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but when I asked you and you just went, well, he was nuts, so I was like, well, that's kind of anticlimactic when you say it like that.
Because I think he can get away with it being like, oh, he was just insane and he had this like god complex. If it was maybe explained how that came to be, like maybe something in his past, we got a fun flashback or something, maybe that would have helped.
I mean, they do mention, like, him being called Jehovah, and then, like, he locked himself in his office and had this whole complex thing. That's sort of it, though.
Yeah.
Also,
But
sorry we're mispronouncing, like, how it's actually supposed to be pronounced, but, like, Genova or Jehovah, or...
Jehovah?
It's like,
Well,
Yahovah or something.
Yeah.
no, okay, so this is the
'Cause they
thing.
bring it
So
up in the movie.
his nickname is Jehovah, but what you're talking about is the actual name in the Bible,
Yeah.
which is Jehovah. However, it's not how the original Hebrew would have been pronounced.
Yeah.
It's a translation. It would have been
Classic
Yahweh or there's another one, but it's escaping my brain. I can't remember. Maybe it is Jehovah, but I don't think it is. I think it's Yahweh or something else like that.
I'm sorry, I had to bring that up because I feel like if one of us didn't, it would somehow get brought up in a comment somewhere
Yeah, I mean,
eventually, and I was
like,
like,
Goto just sort of offhandedly mentions it.
yeah.
And like I think it only leads, I think the way it's presented only leads to confusion as to like Hoba's character.
Yeah,
His whole motivation was he kind of lost it.
Yeah.
which is kind of unsatisfying given what the theme of the movie feels like, very complex and all the sort of, I don't know, methodology.
Yeah.
If that's the correct term to really use here.
Uh,
But at the same time, we were sort of like, I mean, it doesn't fall completely flat.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's sort of that weird middle ground where it's like, maybe not satisfying enough, but at the same time, I sort of get why.
yeah, it's an interesting one where like I think it's maybe not quite as prescient as the second film, because obviously we'll get to that, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but it's also maybe just a little ahead of its time, but like in a bad way, because it's a film about domestic terrorism before we really knew what domestic terrorism
Yeah,
was.
there's no Brazilian football team.
Fuck off.
Look, it's a running thing at this point.
Yeah.
You gotta just mention it occasionally to keep it alive.
Like, because I think, like, had this been after, probably, like, the year 2000, because then we would have had stuff like Columbine and, other atrocities.
You don't want to say it.
No.
We've mentioned it so much on this fucking podcast.
That's why I only said 2000, because
You're like, let's not.
I don't, because, like, I don't think it would have been as interesting as, like, a post 9/11 piece.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Because that would have changed what it is too much.
So I think the story could have been so much more interesting if it at least had some type of a commentary on their reliance on tech.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because then it maybe that's
But then
just my
again,
third
that's
worldview.
also still a little ahead of its time, because
Yeah.
that it's too prior to a reliance on technology, because it's like the late 80s, so it's not even like it has the 90s booming tech to work off of either.
It's just
There's
a
no
weird
internet
place.
in this movie
No.
or anything
No.
like that.
Like-
They talk about like networking and stuff.
Yeah, like they still, like, there would have been no like dial-up either. Like, this is before, like, Compaq and AOL and early internet networking.
The way computers would scream at you.
Yeah, like it really is. Like he says we're networked in, but like all he's doing is connecting to the computer at the headquarters of of SV2. Like the most advanced tech they have is mini discs.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that happen. I was literally
like everything is stored on mini discs.
I was gonna say to you, like, wow, I love early sci-fi like this when the most advanced thing, like, you have giant robots and like all this complex stuff, but the most advanced storage device is these fucking mini discs that everything is on, and it's the cool high-tech thing.
Yeah.
No one ever thought we could probably go smaller with this at some point. No one thought that like, this is where the evolution of storage happened.
It's also like they went with mini disc and not CD.
No.
That was also becoming a thing at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't have faith in the CD.
That won't take off.
No one's gonna use those.
Not for storage.
I'm trying to remember what the capacity of a mini disc actually is, and it's escaping me because it's like 750 megs for a CD, and I'm pretty sure it's probably got to be less.
Yeah, definitely.
For a mini disc, 500 probably. Yeah.
I love that at some point he just pulls out a mini disc and is like, the virus is right here.
No, he pulls out the master.
Oh, the master
disc.
of the HOS system.
The OS system, yes. Which is a believable thing to do, because archiving was fucking terrible back then.
Yeah. But it does feel a bit in current culture like you cannot use coincidence to drive your plot forward. You can only use it to drive yourself backwards. Like you can only use it to negatively impact your characters.
Yeah.
Because if it's positive, you're like, oh, of course.
It's a MacGuffin. Or
I don't necessarily think like him finding it as coincidence and that it's like reflective of the time of they just left that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I believe that.
Yeah,
no,
like
absolutely,
the time that it comes from, it's believable that someone would do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I didn't feel like a coincidence to me. I was just like, you know what? Yeah.
There's probably like 4 other ones.
Like that whole like thing he's flicking through does not seem arranged.
It's
in
not
the
labeled.
slightest. No,
it's just a bunch of.
It's that pile of CDs you would have sitting next to your PC that had a random assortment of stuff.
But you know.
But you know.
You
know.
No one else does, but you know.
I used to have them. It just used to have like 6 different versions of Windows on them all.
Yeah, no, you just had the like no. The third one is this. Like, okay, but what? This is not a storage system. It's so weird. I totally forgot it was like 80s. Even while watching it.
Yeah.
89.
It takes place in 99.
Yeah.
Because
so
it's doing for that, like, 20 minutes in the future sort of thing.
Yeah.
It does feel more 90s.
It
like,
does.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I would have
missing
guessed
some...
early 90s if you hadn't
for
told me this
sure.
was, like, 80s.
Yeah. But I think it's that thing of, like, the way we observe decadology isn't as cut and dry as we, like, kind of talk about it in retrospect, because, like, especially the way we talk about like the 90s, you can kind of divide the 90s into 2 different cultures, because you have the first half and then you have the second half. The first half is sort of defined still by the 80s, and then the second half is defined by the internet, which then bled into the early 2000s. It's just that the early 2000s has, a landmark event that kind of predefined the rest of the decade.
To put it in TV terms, I sort of put the 90s into like 2 different eras. You've got the Fresh Prince era, which was like straight off the 80s, and then you've got the Friends era, which is what we usually think of as the 90s, and then the early 2000s, which I swear we've talked about it like one time a long time ago, and you once described the early 2000s as the 90s going through withdrawal.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I that stuck in my head like all this time, and I can't think of it any other way now.
It was a world setting itself up for a financial crisis, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but everything was so cool. Look at all this cool stuff we could do. Don't think about 9/11.
No, don't mention.
Don't think about it.
Don't mention.
Think of this bright future we've got with like the internet and technology. Everything's gonna be great.
We can do anything now. Wow.
Do you have any other points to make, Melina? My train of thought's been thoroughly derailed.
I mean, like, the whole it was almost comical when they were like, okay, the way the buildings are, the whole wind whistling and wind howling, I thought was interesting. But then they went, well, thank God there's not going to be a typhoon. Clicks the news on. There's a typhoon coming to Tokyo.
I do wish that had been like mentioned at least a little bit more in the background.
The fucking like flashback to Back to the Future with like the newspaper of storm tonight.
It like, just felt a bit, oh yeah.
You know, like just to... The only other thing I can think that has a similar idea to this is Your Name. And at least Your Name sets up the comet in the first fucking scene.
Yeah.
Where like Mitsuha wanders into the living room and there's the news report talking about the comet coming in.
So we know in the back of our head. Yeah.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
But in here it's just like as soon as they're like, well, at least you don't need to worry about any winds higher than 35 miles per hour or whatever.
At this specific like speed per second. Hey, news person, what speed is that wind again? Exactly what you just said, main character.
No. And it's so easy to do. If they just were like, oh, first scene of the movie, let's say, or an early scene on, we gotta reinforce the arc because the typhoon is coming.
But there's also the fact
stronger winds at least.
Nothing about the movie until the typhoon hits indicates typhoon season in Japan.
No.
It is the midst of summer.
But that typhoon last week was crazy. I hope we don't get another one.
Like, they look like they're in the middle of summer, like, complaining about the stickiness, the humidity. I can't remember if there's cicadas in the sound design because that's like an iconic thing that they do for
one of the times they're just in a flat where like they've just got tank tops and like short shorts.
The actual scene where we find out about the typhoon has them sitting dressed like that.
When he's hanging out the window, like I was just like, whoa, calm down there, monkey boy.
Yeah, and you've got like
you're still in your pajamas.
The detectives wandering around and he's like, that got his jacket like slung over his back. It's clearly fucking warm.
Yeah.
What do you mean there's a typhoon incoming? There's no rain.
It's because the plot demanded it. Unfortunately.
The rest of the movie felt so smart and so like put together. And then this feels like the most apparent sort of we gotta have something for the climax.
Because I think it was Noah that saw like a wolf howling or something and was like, wait a second, howling, the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the dog, wasn't it?
Maybe a dog. Yeah. I was like, see, that's a clever way to do it, where you have something that starts your brain and then they had to
see the gears working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always an interesting thing to do. But then they had to ruin it by being like, well, it's fine unless the winds go up to 35 miles per hour.
Hey, what is the news? Oh no.
And I don't know, I just felt like the final scene was a little anticlimactic because of that. Because we didn't have this tension of, oh god, I know it's coming. They clearly haven't connected the dots. Oh god, the tension.
There's no suspense.
No, it just... typhoon is coming. Well, if only we got a warning before this. Like, I think it's been on the news.
Yeah. Okay, let's just turn it off. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, shit.
Speaking of anticlimax a little bit, just to like preface this, the whole of the climax was mostly great. I liked the whole, like, to just sort of jump ahead to that, the whole battle, the moment where what's her name?
Noah?
No.
Which character? I don't.
Japanese American girl. Kanaka. Like when her labor goes insane because of like the virus and stuff, and they have to fight her a little bit. That's cool. But the movie ends right after that.
Yeah.
Because they've destroyed everything. They've jettisoned all the shit off the ark.
It's like we've got nowhere else to go now. Credits.
Yeah. Also, robot birds.
Robot birds.
Birds. The birds.
They're just
birds.
They're just birds.
Birds.
No robot birds.
But they had like glowy eyes.
Birds.
You know that's how birds' eyes react to light, right?
From the way they glowed, I don't blame her. I thought they were also robots for a second.
No, that's just how bird eyes react in certain lighting conditions.
I'm not a bird connoisseur myself, so.
I mean, you film, like, come on, like.
I've never filmed a bird.
Yeah, she's not a bird girl.
Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna belabor the point too much.
Bird.
Red eye is extremely common for
but from the way it's drawn and the way it looks in that shot, I don't blame you. For a split second, I thought the movie was gonna do a massive jump because we see that bird like fly away from Jehovah. I keep wanting to say Genova.
No,
Geneva.
different.
Geneva Convention. But Jehovah, because I forget the actual character's name, but he's like, he has a bird that flies away before he commits, like, you know, suicide.
A crow, yeah.
Yeah, and then we see it again, and it's got like his ID and stuff. I thought the movie was gonna do a massive jump and say, I put my digital consciousness in this robot bird, and all these birds are actually me. Didn't happen.
No.
Glad
Yeah.
it didn't, but
No,
I was
yeah.
so ready for it for like a second.
What was even the point of the birds?
Birds.
Just birds, like,
Okay,
because
cool.
the that control room wasn't getting used.
So the birds took
So
over.
birds.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, if you leave a window open, birds will, especially that high up,
Yeah.
birds are gonna
yeah.
nest.
And it was in the ocean, technically.
Yeah,
on
so
the
like
earth.
that's a perfect place.
It's so funny.
It's slightly off the
Who
coast
left
of
the
Japan.
window open? Who?
I mean, he did jump. No one's gonna be thinking about closing the doors.
Yeah, the birds just kind of took me out of it. Like, whoa. Because because, you know, we're going through, oh, this is where we stored this, this
Yeah.
is where this is, and then this is the bird room.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like the room they're trying to get through throughout the whole. They're trying to get to
Yeah.
throughout the whole climax as well, and then it's just birds.
Yeah. That's like
Birds.
when you go to like a clock tower, like up the top, there's usually
yeah,
like
yeah.
birds' nests and stuff like that. So like that's, you know.
I just didn't think to connect those dots. I was just like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, no one's gonna think, oh yeah, birds. That makes sense.
Yeah, someone probably left the window open.
Yeah.
That's not my first thought. My first thought was robo-birds.
I mean,
hmm
okay.
It's a sci-fi
It's just,
movie.
I'm realizing I might be the only one that realized the crow represents death.
Well,
then.
no, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
just-
birds
yeah, no
represent
shit.
death.
No,
Yeah.
but like that's kind of how we. I think it's on rewatch. Like that's how you know Hoba's dead the entire
Yeah,
movie because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a crow that
Yeah.
flies away and we hear cawing at that opening scene,
Mhm.
which you don't connect the dots until
Yeah,
the
yeah.
end. Because
Oh,
like,
no.
why would you?
Yeah.
It's
but-
just in that opening scene when he's got that like master plan grin that he has
Yeah.
before he jumps off. I was just like, hey, just like my plan. Fly away, bird.
Fly.
Do my bidding. Find my pages. I genuinely believe he has said find my pages at some point in his life, thinking he's a genius. I believe that for this character.
No one's gonna get
I
that.
don't care. I get it. You're laughing.
Look, to me, I would think that's a Slender Man reference. But
I mean,
don't
it
think
is,
it's-
technically.
Oh.
It is technically yes.
Yes.
You go one layer down.
Yeah, one layer
Oh,
down.
Okay.
Find my pages. Who? Melina.
Stop it.
I'm checking my notes.
You got a message.
I didn't.
Are you sure? Someone
Yes.
did.
I didn't get a message.
I didn't.
I
My,
heard the thing though.
my watch would have dinged if I did.
Maybe it was just too close. But yeah, I don't know. I wish there was a little more tension in the climax for me. I don't know. I felt like it was going up and down a bit in like suspense, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It just wasn't vibing with me.
Mm.
But I did like having Asuma as a main character because
Mhm.
in the show he was very much my dad owns the company.
He's the straight man of the group.
He's a straight guy.
Yeah.
He's
Kind of makes it a
Guy.
little boring.
Yeah.
yeah. And finally he actually got personality, but unfortunately I think that went at the expense of most other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get you.
it is the thing where like the main
difficult.
characters kind of shift almost up a level,
Mhm.
where like it's in the OVA it's like the squad,
Mhm.
and then the distinct characters are like Goto and Nagamo.
Yeah.
And then here it's like it shifts up a little bit where you've got kind of like not the team leaders, but sort of in lack of any team leaders, you have Asuma and Noah,
Mhm.
and then you have like Goto and Nagamo.
Yeah.
And so it focuses on like them more. Also, but obviously Nagamo's a different unit, so like she's
Yeah.
still a little more distant. So like it kind of pushes everyone down a level, which means that some characters who don't have a lot of function for the story
Yeah.
just kind of don't really appear a lot. Like wife guy whose name I'm completely
fine.
blanking on.
Wife
He's
guy.
wife guy.
Big dog.
Gun guy.
The big
Is gun guy
Gun
big dog?
guys. No, big dog is.
No, it's too different. Yeah.
He's big dog is like the monster with the
guy?
heart of gold. Yeah,
Uh,
tomato guy.
He had a brother bonding moment with the kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ota has like more of a presence, but that's just because
Yeah.
he's a fucking loudmouth.
Yeah.
Also, sadly, Shige's not really in the movie a whole bunch, but like if he were, he'd have foiled the whole fucking plot
Probably.
immediately.
Yeah.
Shige showing up like right at the end, like right before they figure everything out, as pure like, if he had been here from the start, this just wouldn't have fucking.
This movie would have been half an hour.
This is like where the Doctor isn't in an episode, because if the Doctor were here, he'd have just had it all done and dusted.
Yeah. Like if you put him in Blink for like throughout most of the episode, the angels are like fucked within 5 minutes.
Oh god. I think.
Yeah, no, that's my points. All done.
Yeah.
I like this movie well enough. I'll say it that. But I do ultimately prefer like the next movie. I'm just pulling up
My final point that I just want to bring up because it was funny. I like the main plot of like the main plot point of what stops like the main laborers from going insane is that I just didn't feel like installing the new OS.
Yeah.
Again, that's what I mean by like if Shige had actually been around.
Yeah.
You guys didn't read the terms and conditions.
I just loved it. He was like,
No.
man, glad that worked out for me. Otherwise, whoo.
I mean, it feels like such a.
No, it's believable.
That new Apple update. I just forgot to install it. Y'all's phones blew up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's legit
crazy.
me like holding off as long as possible until Windows 11.
Like
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, talk about a man that saw the red flags and was like, nah.
I was gonna wait until they forced me to, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah, scores.
Even though we've talked about its flaws a little bit more, I feel like in this than I expected to. I'm still giving it an 8.
Yeah,
I still very much enjoyed the movie.
I gave it an 8 as well. That's sort of where.
I'm at a 5.5.
Yeah, of course.
I was
Actually
expecting a
adequate.
4, not
Yeah,
gonna
same.
lie.
Really? No, because there were like very interesting bits, but it just lost me at points where I was like, it's just a shame.
Yeah.
And it is so funny talking about, because I never really look into a year and all that. I go in blind, as I always say. And so I would not have placed it in the 80s at all.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's the sort of it's 89, so like right on the cusp of the 90s. But I think it's like that sort of thing of maybe it's weird because like even though it's like a police procedural, like you can kind of feel an undercurrent of where the people who made this is political leanings are, and that's that they're maybe not the most supportive of where Japan was at the time.
Really?
That's great. That's insane. Where'd you see that? No one said that.
Which is maybe what gives it like a little more of a, less 80s feel,
Not that line where I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure the intent is like, I got a good heart which makes me not a great cop or something like that. And it's like, I mean, real, but also... I didn't expect that from this anime.
Yeah, it only becomes more prevalent. In the second
like
movie.
that's ahead of its time for a good reason.
That's great.
So we'll move on to the I guess the star of this episode, since it's a first.
Yeah.
It's funny, this could have gone to Lupin.
but
I begged.
It didn't.
I begged it to not go to Lupin.
And we pat ourselves on the back for it not being Lupin.
Pat.
I'm funny.
Battle Royale. Who wants to start? I've seen this film so many times. I genuinely don't know
So
what to actually say.
At the start of this movie, I was weirdly giddy for it to like start off because I don't know if this says anything about how I experienced high school, but I was so ready to see all these shitty high school kids bite the fucking dust.
What my main vibe takeaway for this is the movie when you hang out with your friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of talking. You put it on and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Which is funny because like it is gory and violent,
and it's a dark movie.
Yeah.
But it's not schlocky. It's not like without merit.
No.
It does it for purpose and reason.
Yeah, the end of my like point there was gonna be that was me at the start, but by the end of it, it was a good movie, but I was empty inside.
Yeah.
And so just like a shell of what I was at the start, in a good, like affectionate.
Yeah.
And I think the main way I describe this movie is imagine like the first Resident Evil movie if it was smart.
That's mean.
No, but it's right, just in the terms of like the tone and the style, because there's goofy moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's
Sorry, that
goofy
almost
as
killed
fuck
me.
moments and like the action and stuff, but like this is actually smart and
Yeah.
has a point.
Yeah.
I want to give major props to their high school kids. Not a single boob. Not
No.
a single boob.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They probably couldn't have done that because most of the cast were actually age appropriate.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. Most of them. I have a feeling that a
A
couple.
few looked a bit.
Yeah, like the guy who helps them.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he
yeah,
looked well.
he was probably
I
like
mean, he's supposed to be a few years older.
yeah, but he looks
Yeah.
like mid-20s.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was like, they're wearing skirts. They're wearing shorts under their skirts. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Hell yeah.
Woo!
I think the only nudity we actually see is male nudity, and that's when that psycho girl's like killed the two guys
Yeah.
in the pool area type thing. But I think that's like the most you really actually see in the movie. I've never actually thought about that before.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Thank
it's
God.
something I noticed because I was scared in the first scene in the classroom. I was like, oh, she looks a little too old, which means they just cast someone that looks old enough.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. And because the first person they name with like their number was girl 18, I was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do this. Where we're like, she's a girl and she's of legal
They're
age.
high schoolers, but they are of legal age. Just like every Japanese adult video has to specify.
So I was just like almost like preparing myself for it. And
Yeah.
the fact that it didn't happen, I was so happy.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've seen it that many times it didn't even
register.
Yeah.
No. I feel like it would lose some of its heart if it did.
Yeah, oh,
You know?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would distract from the point of the movie.
Absolutely. Because they are kids.
Yes.
There'd be no need.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because even like all of the like romance is very high school. It's
Yeah.
not.
It's very much you have a crush on
Yeah.
me. You have a crush on this.
The fact that keeps coming up in the middle of the situation, I was expecting the main guy to be like, "Why are you asking me this? We're going to die."
No.
So many people have a crush on Nanahara throughout the
Yeah.
movie. Like it's
And
crazy.
He's
Nah.
not great.
Yeah.
He's the
kinda
main
meh.
character,
Yeah.
like in a stock sense.
Yeah.
I felt it did take a little more time than I had expected for them to kind of go into the arena, but I honestly didn't mind because I love, the bus thing. They go there, we get introduced to our like main crew. I'm sad they killed off that guy immediately, but I get why.
Oh yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Totally fair enough. Just to be like, okay, time for today's lesson: how to kill,
Yeah.
how to survive or be dead. Have
I
fun.
love the video instruction
Yeah.
of how
I'm
to
a
survive. That
sucker
was
for
so
that.
nice.
Yeah.
Very Japanese to do
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
And just having a break, like stop whispering.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on now?
Oh yeah, we watched the director's cut, so I need to point this out.
Yes.
Him pulling the knife out, that looked a bit odd, right?
Yeah. I
It's
It's
remember.
because in the actual original take, he pulls the knife out like from around midway down her face, even though it hits her directly in the
Yeah.
forehead. And they've corrected it with CG, so it makes his arm movement like really,
I didn't
weird.
notice
Yeah, I didn't know.
I think it's because I've seen the theatrical
Yeah.
cut more often than I've seen the director's cut now. Because I think I've still only seen the director's cut twice. Because until the new release from Arrow, like in 2021, you just pretty much could not get a hold of the director's cut in the UK. So I've seen the theatrical more. So like every time I see that scene, I'm like, why does that look so weird? And I forget it's because they like
They fixed-
digitally
yeah.
fixed
Yeah,
it, which I always find very funny because I don't think anybody would have actually picked
No,
up
yeah.
on it if
No.
he had pulled it out of the wrong place.
No.
It's such a like.
There's so many moments where if you look too close.
Yeah,
it's so
you see the
Uh-huh.
cracks, but you're not supposed to look too.
No,
close.
you
No,
don't
that's
do
it.
that. Yeah.
It's like a pretty low budget movie
Yeah.
overall. So like it's forgivable for
Absolutely.
the little mistakes and stuff.
yeah.
Again, it sort of goes into that tone where like this is a very serious movie, but like it is like that very much year 2000 sort of
Yeah.
action where like that ain't real blood, and you know that ain't real blood.
No one's
you can see
believing.
you can almost see the packs, but like
you can see the packs, you can see the tubes.
Yeah. Knives ain't supposed to stick like that.
Yeah.
But you go with it because it's fun.
You go with the flow. Yeah.
It's traumatizing, but it's fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That actual moment where like you just immediately like knifes her with the throwing knife. I was like, holy shit.
Like, I know teachers hate them kids, but damn.
Yeah, again, real. But
Yeah.
Don't fuck with Beat Takeshi, man. I also love that his name is just Kitano in this movie, because that's actually his fucking name. His real name is Takeshi Kitano.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice. He was like, no, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go full method on this.
I knew I
I'm
recognized
killing
him
these
somewhere,
children.
by the way. I was like, I know this guy. I'm not entirely sure where, but I know this guy from somewhere.
And I feel like this is one of those movies where if you look at it too closely, even plot-wise, like, okay, so this is act Battle Royale because kids are misbehaving.
Yeah.
So we're putting a random chance. But for some reason, their teacher is the one that's doing... Like, it falls apart if you think about it.
It's,
so don't.
Yeah. It's sort of, like, reflective of the time the book and the film was written in. Like, there was definitely a lot of tension between, like, the older and younger parts of Japan. But I think that sort of just was, like, the thing... throughout the whole of the late half of the 20th century for the whole world, is like there was a growing sense of like division between the adults and the kids. It's like, you know,
because it's coming from, you know, their one generation is like, this is how the world works, traditional family, move on, you get married, family, and then kids are like, what if I want to have a good time?
Like, what if I don't want to do
what
that?
What if I'm like not wanting to do that? Have we considered that? So I feel like that maybe could have be the cause of the divide, but just the movie opening with they were such little shits. We had to make them kill each other.
We create a totalitarian like whole government just to like fuck them kids up.
And it's not even for entertainment.
No,
because I watched it with Manuel, who was like, oh, so is this like Hunger Games, like entertainment? Like, no, they just do this.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the winner gets some recognition in the opening scene, but it's not like people are watching it.
No.
It's just this girl killed everyone.
Well, we don't even know she did kill everyone.
Yeah, no.
Like,
she just survived. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta assume she must have.
You never know. She could have been hiding under a table.
Yeah, but if the time goes out, surely she wouldn't be the only person left.
You never know.
You guys saw
could have killed each other. You
You guys saw that fucking smile though, right? Yeah. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, trauma can fuck you up.
I mean, she's covered in blood though.
Yeah.
I also think that like the whole, again, you think about it too much, it falls apart. What exactly are you teaching the people who survive here? Like congratulations, you've created a society of murderers. That's order.
The only way I thought I could think about it making a little sense, it's like it could be your class. Look at your classmates. You know,
that's 100% what it is, because it's like the book at least was like a warning of totalitarian regimes and like the sort of fear that they then control with. It's like a fucking dialed up version of 1984 in a weird way, where the message is sort of like, it could be you, like you're right, it could be you.
Which I don't want to say kids are very cynical and they're gonna be like, is that right? Like, I don't think the one demographic that's not gonna give a shit is the teens. Also, representation for my people. You're in a bad situation, I'm throwing myself off a cliff.
Yeah, honestly, respect to the Clef couple.
Hell yeah.
They saw the situation, they knew they were probably not gonna make it out, and they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah, look,
oh, man.
Every time we have a survivalist show type of thing, or something apocalypse, I bring up, I will kill myself.
I'd give it a fair crack. Like, if I'm going down, I'm going down swinging.
What if you get a shitty fucking weapon?
I'm still going down swinging.
Yeah.
Honestly,
even
even
someone's eyes out.
Even if you get like just the tracking device or something, I'd still like. My first instinct would be, okay, find a place to hide, maybe play dead occasionally, and everybody else will just kill each other. And if it's just me and one other person,
maybe you have a chance.
Maybe wait until like nighttime and then just.
Nah, I'm using that tracking device. I'm trying to get as many as possible.
You see, that's because you're a murderer.
Yeah.
You sick fuck.
Like, the thing is, it's so dependent on what weapon you get. If I get a long-range weapon, I might give it a shot. I get a taser, I'm done.
Would not be useful with a long-range weapon.
What?
You just don't have the training or expertise.
No.
I know that. Like, if I get a gun, I'm not gonna really know how to use it.
I'm expected to go down like crossbow guy.
Yeah, no, I'm betting on getting a bow and arrow because that's the only weapon I know how to use. Also, the fucking guys, the bomb squad. Let's just call them the bomb squad.
Yeah.
For some reason, when they were like pulling the generator in, I think Manuel went, "They got a generator in their pack? That's unfair."
I thought it was just there, not gonna lie.
No, it was just there.
I just looked at him. You thought that fit in one of the bags?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it wouldn't have even fit in the cage thing that they had all the bags on. Imagine throwing that at the students like they did. Like they were throwing the bags.
Instant like head crack, dead.
Exactly. I was like, is it a great thing to be like, fuck yeah, I'm a generator? But if I got a generator, I'd be like, what?
What do I do with this?
Oh my
Gee,
God.
I wonder who got the generator suspiciously generator-shaped bag. Don't worry about it, guys.
Does anyone know how to use a generator? Can they tell me? I'm just curious.
For a friend.
No, I didn't get the generator.
He's just still in the hallway pulling that thing. Everyone's gonna know where I am. This isn't fair.
Yeah, like it's
Imagine dragging that through the forest.
It's amazing they don't get like discovered earlier with the generator, because like that's gonna create, one, they have the lights on, two, the sound. Like that's just a dead giveaway.
Generators aren't quiet.
No.
Oh.
Especially in the 2000s.
No.
Yeah, especially when you've got Shinra Man over there whose only purpose in the movie is to be assassin boy.
Not a single line of dialogue
No.
for that character in the entire movie.
Yeah, he started out as transfer student 01 and then he just became the Joker.
The Joker, baby! That fucking moment where like it's when he's facing like the kid with the bulletproof vest. Like he's blasting him, like the kid I think played dead for like a second. It was like, I finally made it. Starts laughing like a fucking idiot. So you know you got that coming, but then he just goes
up to the roof.
Yeah, he goes chosen mode, like classic mistake.
In fact, he pulls out a motherfucking katana.
Yeah, he pulls out the katana and does like the jump slash. I was like,
In
at that
case
moment,
you
I was like, oh,
forgot,
come the fuck on.
In case you forgot, that was a Japanese film.
Yeah.
Let's remind you.
Someone had to get
A katana.
Yeah.
Shinobi wannabe son of a bitch.
I'm thinking about the packs. I don't know if it fit.
Is it an actual katana or does he get a wakizashi?
I don't know.
Isn't it the short one he gets?
Yeah, it is the short
It
one.
is?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
then it's
so
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a wakizashi, which is the smaller.
Yeah, I mean, even someone's got a shotgun, which I was like, that's quite long.
I think that one could fit in the bag.
Yeah.
It's really wedged.
Yeah.
They got a crossbow in one of the bags.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine getting fucking that thrown at you.
That's the first thing. That's the first weapon we really see
Yeah.
in this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first guy. Like the boy one.
Yeah.
Got that.
Reacting that as I imagine an actual teenager would react to any of these weapons. Oh god, I just killed her.
Oh
Like
no! So, I want to pitch this movie. It's Battle Royale with the Scooby-Doo gang.
Yeah. I don't know how, but Daphne would somehow win.
Oh, 100%.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No one would expect it. You'd think it'd be Fred because of all the traps, but no.
No. It's gonna be her and Velma, and they're gonna. Daphne's gonna pull her. We can make it out together, and then kill her in cold blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
after
look at
everyone
her
else is
eyes and
dead.
Velma.
That one scene in Last of Us season 2.
Tell me about the farm, Daphne. We got the
Where they
real
grow-
references here.
Where they grow Scooby snacks.
I just love that. I hate to say it, but this is some of the best teenage women I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The two girls are like, what if we just, one of us got a megaphone? I think we know what to do. Hey guys, we're over here.
Oh god.
I have a crush
Them
on you.
No survival instinct
Come over
whatsoever.
here. We can work together. please.
That happened. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? We can work this out. We can talk. We don't have to do this.
Like, the women are either like, we can work it out, guys, or psycho.
Yes.
Which is, accurate. The lighthouse scene.
Yeah, the lighthouse scene. That broke my goddamn heart. How that fell
yeah.
apart so quickly.
I mean, it was almost predictable. Imagine you get poisoned. Like,
Yeah.
imagine you're one of the fucking transfer students.
Um,
You're like, let's murder. Of a fuck.
Come on. I wanted a katana.
Do you think they're doing inventory? They're like, I saw them buy this, and I really want a katana. The lighthouse scene I thought was just so fun. Because of course the women would just hang out in the lighthouse. I would.
Again, another immediately identifiable landmark that someone's going to look at and go, yeah, there's people in there, let's go.
Yeah, but they had a gun, so they could shoot from up top. Have some
Yeah.
It was smart.
They had a whole like sort of like organization going on of like how it worked out, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah, one girl got paranoid.
One idiot was like, I'm gonna get revenge. I'm like, you don't look like you know what you're
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it in the most like sloppy way possible and just poison one of the food and just hope that it ends up in the person I'm trying to kill.
I'm gonna leave it on the table.
Because she grabbed the plate, put the poison in, and I was like, I'll bring it to him. But then other girl came and was like, I'm hungry, thank you.
Yeah, it's almost like they're fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
Well, no, what happens is she's like, I'll take it up to him, like makes up the plate, puts the poison in, blah blah blah, and then she's like, oh, I need water or something like that. So she goes to the cupboard, and then the girl comes in.
Oh, that's worse.
So she leaves it unattended like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And so of course someone immediately goes,
nah, I'm hungry.
Yeah, is food.
Yeah. Of course, they're all just cooking for each other. Like, I love to be like, yeah, feminism, women, they're strong, we're fighters. But then again, I'd be like, no, I'd probably go with that. That seems pretty chill.
To be fair, without the poison, they could have made it.
Yeah.
They'd all, because if the time ran out,
they would all died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, that sounds fine.
Yeah, I mean, that would have happened, I think, either way. Like, if they had been the ones to survive and had to have waited out the time, they would all turn on each other anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if it was that easy, like with the poison.
Yeah, there was enough bubbling under the surface to be that when time came, someone's gonna...
Poor leader girl, she tried so hard.
Yeah.
She was, she didn't deserve that.
No.
She could have lit the revolution.
Those girls are fucking resilient though, by the way, with how many shots they could take while still being able to like talk for like a second or whatever. Like Glasses girl, I think she takes like
too many.
Like was she shot with the submachine gun at one point?
I think so, yeah.
And she still stands up on the table.
Like she scrambles into the corner, she's like, fuck, you shot me that hurt. And I'm like, girl, come on, that like you gotta put a bit more into it than that. Like,
come on.
Ow.
Though it is a very like high school girl reaction at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, you bitch. I'm happy I didn't see this movie while I was in high school, because I would just look around my classmates a little different.
Wow.
Wouldn't you?
I
just be like,
I don't know.
I could take them.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I read The Hunger Games in high school, so like...
Yeah, I wish The Hunger Games... I don't think The Hunger Games casting is bad at all, but I feel like they should have made everyone look younger. Because like...
Oh, I mean, I was talking about the book I read, The Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah. But, God.
Again, I don't know if this reveals what high school was like for me, but if I saw this in high school, the only word I can think of is catharsis. While knowing that I would not be the one to survive.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be dead.
You're there for the ride, though.
Someone would want to personally kill me. I don't know who, but someone would just want me dead, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
They just don't trust you.
Yeah, that's just what high school was like for me.
Yeah.
Also,
maybe I probably would just jump off the cliff, yeah.
Yeah, I'll join you.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
That's us.
Yeah. I mean, I'd look at the weapon I have. If I have a gun, I'm like,
you'd shoot me.
No, let me consider my personal options.
Would it be easier to shoot you? Shoot me first, and then I'll shoot myself.
I'd ask, do you prefer shooting yourself or being shot? Yeah, see, it's difficult.
Yeah. Either way, I'm fucking dead.
Kurt Cobain POV.
Hey.
No, that was a shotgun, not a pistol. If it was bandana guy.
Also, Sickle Girl.
Yeah.
I thought she was crazy, and then I was like, nah, you go, girl.
Yeah, like once you see the flashbacks and you're like, nah, I get it.
You've now been made sympathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think she's kind of a psycho.
Oh,
though,
she is.
but, like,
Yeah.
100%.
You understand why
she
she's a
needed
psycho.
help.
Yeah.
She stabbed him in the dick, and I was like, meh, deserve.
When she meets when we basically meet her like for the first time and like
with
her
Taser Girl.
Yeah, with Taser Girl. Yeah, I was like, she was like, hey, you can come in here. We could like survive the night together, and like, she should have known from the fucking smile that like Psycho Girl gave that like,
Yeah.
don't let her run.
Yeah.
Maybe don't.
Maybe don't show her your taser and be like, yeah, take a look at it.
Some people are too trusting though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I was wanting to stay alive, I'd probably be too trusting.
I mean, I completely fell for Bandana Guy. Like,
Yeah.
and his whole plan. I know it was a fake out. But like when it turned, I was like, oh damn! If you actually did want to kill me, I would have fallen for this.
Yeah, because I was kind of weirded out at first. I'm like, he's a transfer student, which basically means born to kill or whatever. And he was like, guys, don't do this. Guys, listen, don't do this.
Yeah.
My dad's a doctor. He's a chef.
And he's also
he's a fisherman.
He's a fisherman.
Yeah.
The third one, I was like, oh come on.
What doesn't your dad?
I mean,
I can't believe gay dads, but come on.
It's just meant to be him.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, like he's making that
fucking
shit
around,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second mention, I was like, good. Good dads.
We're not there yet.
No, he was just weird. Just a shame.
He's a survivor.
Yeah. No, I fucking loved the interaction between Sickle Girl and Creepy Guy. Where Creepy Guy was like, you know, you don't want to die a virgin, girl.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
And she was like, no thanks.
The
And
guy
I think I
who
would
thinks,
actually.
Yeah, the guy who thinks he is a ladies' man.
Yeah. And just their interaction where he just says, well, if you don't want to, I could just rape you. And she's like, no. I was like, well, now you've made me mad.
That's not Sickle Girl.
Oh, no,
I
that's
had
Running
the-
Girl.
I had
Running
the
Girl.
same
Running
thing.
Girl.
I had that in the movie, and I felt
Yes,
so bad afterwards
same.
because I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I thought, oh, this is the backstory for like Psycho Girl. Maybe she like
Yeah.
lost like her like boyfriend or whatever, and that's just made her very cynical. But no, that's a different girl.
Yeah,
It's
no,
Running Girl.
that's Running Girl.
Which Running Girl.
Yeah.
You don't need to go run.
No.
Yeah, not now.
Because she
Girl,
has
no.
an unreciprocated
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
with the guy with the tracker who's looking
Yeah.
for someone
Someone else.
Yeah.
someone else. Yeah,
Not her.
not her.
Yeah, not her. Ugh. There's so many crushes, but again, it's high school.
Yeah,
They're 14, 15?
probably.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I thought about 15, 16.
Yeah. It's
they say year 8, and I'm trying to translate what that would actually be.
Was it in year 9?
yeah, I think they
Oh,
were in
year
year
9.
7
Or like
with
they
the
were
guy,
going into
year
2
9.
years later.
Yeah.
There were flashbacks, yeah, but they were going into year 9. Or it just started year
So
9.
would that be second year of high school for Japan? Because I think because this is one of the rare instances where the UK is actually the only place to get like a decent release of this, we're getting English years inserted in it. So it's like year 7 being whatever year, you know, and I don't like. It's different up here in Scotland, so I don't understand.
Yeah, because we've got our own thing as well. Like, I don't understand the English system at all.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a sixth form? Is that a regeneration? Are you Colin Baker now? What the fuck does that mean, England? I'm going on Google, and apparently year 9 in Japan is like the third and final year of junior high school.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if they're like 50.
So I'm guessing around 50.
Yeah.
Which, you know, syncs up with how the characters act.
Yeah.
I love accurate teenagers, though. We don't get that.
Yeah.
We don't get it nowadays. It's
Where they're
always gotta
actual
be,
people, like they're not idiots. I mean, they are kind of idiots.
They're not
but, you know,
muscular. They're not beefy boys.
No.
They're just little
They're not
lanky
models.
things. They're like, oh, I have a crush on you. No, forget I said that.
And they're not. Maybe this is the word too far, but they're not fetishized.
Yeah,
no,
no,
absolutely.
it's
Again, with the whole, you know, girls actually wearing safety shorts.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And accurate. not many girls would go around nowadays without them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
no shit.
Yeah.
Especially probably in Japan.
Yeah.
There's a reason their
Yeah.
phones you can't turn the camera shutter off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Them
You
in
can't.
Korea.
Yeah.
that's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Because I don't know if listeners at home will know this, but if you buy a phone in Japan, you can't turn the shutter sound off on any phone camera.
Can you imagine why?
Yeah.
You can imagine why.
You can probably imagine.
It's not
Yeah.
hard to stretch the imagination, is it? That's depressing. I always hate
Yeah.
remembering that.
Yeah, I
Same.
kind of vomited in my mouth a little bit when you mentioned it.
Yeah.
But yeah, accurate teenagers.
Hell
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Except for Hacker Guy.
Except for Hacker.
Hacker
No,
Guy
I
is the
fully
one-
believe that. I fully believe that.
Actually, you know what? In around the 2000s, like the military security would be pretty fucked as well.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
pretty fucked now.
It was all probably running on like not even Windows 98, like Windows 3.1 or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I believe it. It's being able to make bombs, maybe I don't believe.
the man read the Anarchist's Handbook or whatever.
Anarchist Cookbook.
Cookbook. That's it. He found that. And
Don't
he was-
ask why I know.
Yeah. Like, they were just like, okay, we're gonna do our separate thing. Where I knew from the start, as soon as they were like, we're gonna hack the system, I was like, you're never gonna meet anyone.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be in your little hut.
Yeah.
Until shit goes down.
That's accurate as hell though.
Yeah.
Like if in the situation you find your group,
Mhm.
your guys, and then
lads.
your boys, and then you just like you find like a place where you guys can just do your shit, and then you make your plan,
Yep.
whether it fails or not.
Yeah. Also, it's funny how many people are looking for Nanahara throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, even them, the hackers, say to the guy with the tracker who's looking for the girl that's not the running girl, are like, oh, if you find him, let him know we're here.
Yeah, get
and
him
I'm like,
here.
why does everyone want to know this kid?
He wrote the script.
He's incompetent to shit.
He wrote the script.
Maybe he was just, the nice guy. He's like, I just hope he hasn't been killed. He doesn't
Yeah,
deserve that."
maybe.
This entire story is actually what he's writing for an English class.
Yeah.
That's my headcanon.
I do like the maps as well. I like the whole, let me announce the bad
Yes.
songs. And you see the inner kitness of, let's put up the map and do it.
yeah.
Like, I just thought it was fun.
This is where I need to bring it up. So the Hunger Games. We've
Yeah.
mentioned it slightly
Yeah.
beforehand. It's very funny because Susan Collins has said that she had never seen or read Battle Royale
Yeah,
before
but
making
come
writing the Hunger Games. There is no fucking way she didn't because
Especially the sequel.
oh, you mean Catching Fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main reason I bring this up is because I could have passed that off if I hadn't just watched it again. But sure, like the Hunger Games is an entertainment thing, as in like it's staged for entertainment. Like that's why the Hunger Games happen within the Hunger Games universe, and the setup is different. However, the setup of the game itself
It's still the same.
is almost exactly the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because
It's kids killing kids.
for context, I feel like I'm the only one in this group that hasn't read or watched any
Okay,
of the Hunger
so-
Games stuff. So all I know about the Hunger Games is just the general setup, where
Yeah.
totalitarian world,
Yeah.
done for entertainment, to get, I don't know, your district like
Uh-huh.
food or whatever. That's why it's called the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
It's just repayment for rebelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, districts. You
Uh-huh.
rebelled against us. Now you kids gotta kill each other.
Ah, okay.
The distinct similarities here that you cannot ignore, though,
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
the announcements of danger zones and the actual
Okay.
danger zones themselves.
That whole section is just
Yeah.
like straight up a
Yeah.
copy from this.
and like announcing the deaths
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
okay,
kids
that
and
makes
stuff
sense.
as well.
Because I mean, I obviously in the back of my head, just from the setup, I was like, well, this is kind of similar to Hunger Games, maybe where the idea
Yeah.
originated. But even then, I was like, well, probably parallel thinking is a thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a battle royale. It's a completely unique idea to this movie.
This was the
but-
first one though. Like this
Yeah.
created the genre.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
the general idea had been, someone had to have thought of it beforehand, obviously.
Yeah.
Just like this, but didn't make a movie out of it or anything. But my point is, I thought maybe it could have been parallel thinking, but if they just straight up left it like
No,
danger
there's.
zones.
Yeah.
I don't believe her when she says she hadn't experienced any part of
think- yeah.
the series because there's some parts that are just too similar. Like you couldn't have parallel thought that amount of
Yeah.
similarities.
I think what could have happened is she saw it and you, without really knowing.
Yes.
You take bits, which is, I think, is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you can then say, "Oh shit, you're
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
right. You're oh my
Yeah.
god, I didn't even notice."
Like I have this thing where like sometimes I'll write something down, like if I'm thinking of like writing something, and then I'll realize, oh, I took this from like that later on because I'm rewatching. My main influence usually Doctor Who or something like that, because Doctor Who is so ingrained in my head that because like there are just ideas and thoughts that I don't realize I got from that a long time ago, and it's not until I look back and go, oh, I just straight up lifted this section of my personality from this. Wow. But like, yeah, if the time frame works as well, because there was only like 8 years between the movie, like Battle Royale, and the first book.
2008. Yeah, I think is when the first book was published.
Somewhere around that time.
I mean, I looked it up because that's why I think it's like 8 years. If
I think
remember
so.
right.
Yeah.
So it's too close. It's close.
Also like, I think the movie would have gotten like a UK. I can't remember where Susan Collins is from.
No idea.
And
A Western
Britain,
release?
it got okay. So it's kind of complicated.
Oh boy.
Because I'll get to the US in a second. UK, we pretty much got it like soon after Japan. Like we had cinema screenings, and then like it got VHS and DVD releases around 2003 and 2004. US is a lot more complicated because it came out in 2000. It's a hyper-violent film. Columbine had just happened.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yo, you're right. And
So for at least 12 or 13 years, no one wanted to touch it. And also Toei attached like a lot of restrictions and like specifics on like if anyone bought the rights, there were certain things like they had to do, and like no one really wanted.
Okay, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. I completely forgot about Columbine.
Yeah. And then there was like a lot of companies, like if they like were saying like, oh, if we release it here, we're gonna go to jail, and it's like,
oh come on,
no, you wouldn't. But like,
yeah, I see, like, oh, because some kid's gonna watch it, and it's the violence influences kids and all that.
I've looked it up a little bit. According to Google, so you know, little pinch of salt. The UK release date for Battle Royale was September 14th, 2001.
For cinema,
Yeah. I don't know about like home releases.
Tragedy.
I think it was like 2003 or 4.
That's America. It's fine.
Yeah,
We're fine.
we weren't that, you know.
Now, I mean, like the Queen did a little, mourning thing, but fuck it. Unless it came out like July 8th, 2005.
Yeah, like that's different. But yeah, it basically meant like until Anchor Bay picked it up, like no one was really doing it. I think it had like art festival and like smaller screenings because
very like professional screenings. I imagine.
No one wanted to put it in front of the MPAA for a long time because like they were worried like, oh, you know, if we want to get an R rating, there won't be much left type thing.
Gotta
and,
scrub out all this blood. You can't have.
Yeah.
You can't have like a teenage girl in the shorter skirt or something. You can just safety shorts or something.
So yeah, it means that like the US took a long time to get it, which is actually very interesting because normally like that's a UK experience. Where, like,
very much a Europe. I mean, and especially Australia.
Yeah. But like we were pretty bad for like, you know, you can't have this because it's a bad influence on the kids.
It's a video nasty.
I mean, it wasn't short of controversy in Japan itself. Like there was the whole, like, this is interesting. The only Japanese film I've ever seen that has the actual ratings announcement at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I noticed that
intact.
too. So I was like, oh, this really hit Japan.
Yeah. Huh? So like it has an R15 plus, and Kinji Fukasaku originally wanted to like push back against that because his whole thing is like, well, you exclude the actual demographic this movie is about.
Yeah.
So he encouraged people of that age to sneak in and see it.
Yeah. Real.
But then there was what else happened? Something else happened where like he essentially backed off because he didn't want the government cracking down any further on it and potentially forcing IREN, the Japanese certification board, pushing the rating up even higher.
Yeah.
So
doing
he
more
like
damage than you actually want.
because IREN pretty much like the BBFC and MPAA are like self-regulatory. Like they have certain laws they need to follow, and there's certain laws that they can apply to ban or ask for cuts to movies in the UK and in the US as well. But by and large, they are self-regulatory, pretty much just to appease government regulations.
Yeah, like they're not specifically a government like department or like agency or anything like that, but one, they kind of have to act like it in this situation, and two, there's going to be a lot of overlap on like the higher ups of those, or like the government and BBFC anyway, so it's very still institutional.
I mean, it's like, you know, PEGI for video games is also self-regulatory as well, but they exist on the idea of like, if something has an age rating, you know what audience can and can't buy it, and therefore it's, well, in the UK it's kind of weird, it's kind of not illegal to sell anything certificated to someone under age of that certification.
I mean, you go into a shop and they'll still act like it's illegal though.
Yeah,
like I remember being told it was illegal when I tried to buy like.
It's a very strange one, because as far as I'm aware, there isn't.
Yeah,
especially for video games.
There's like a huge belief though.
Yeah,
I remember. This is a very like specific one. I remember in a library. Obviously, libraries have like games consoles and stuff, and like, you know, I was taken there by my granny because she was like getting like some books and stuff, and I wanted to play a little bit of a game, and the game I wanted to play, funnily enough, was Shadow the Hedgehog. Because I was like, but I was 11.
Yeah,
and that game's rated 12, and the librarian would not let me play it. She was like, "No, it rated 12. You are not 12. I cannot give this to you."
That's crazy.
And I was like, "It's Shadow the Hedgehog." I was like, "Are you serious? This is a Sonic the Hedgehog game."
Yeah.
Literally, 11-year-old me was like, "It's Sonic."
Woman.
Are you serious? I didn't just say woman. That's slander.
But yeah, as far as I know, like,
I was thinking it at the time, but I didn't say it.
It's not law. Like, it's guidance.
Yeah.
It's not law. It's the same with like energy drinks in the UK. You can't sell them to people under the age of 16. That's not law,
and it's not going to stop.
That's guidance. It's not like the law of not selling alcohol to someone under age of 18, or selling tobacco products or nicotine products to someone under the age of 18, which is law and strictly can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
As far as I'm aware, video games, movies, also TV, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And other stuff like that is strictly guidance and not law.
Okay.
In Japan it is different.
Okay.
Because I believe it's law. You need to follow those age ratings in Japan, especially with video games. The Zero system is not up for discussion.
I feel like we talked about it briefly, I want to say, when we did the Resident Evil games. Like, very, very, very briefly.
Yes.
Japan has a whole thing about violence in video games, I think, like, specifically.
Yes, and of course it was Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, that makes so much fucking sense.
Oh.
The thing that usually comes up with me is that it means that the Resident Evil games, which are made in Japan, get censored heavily in their home country, whereas internationally you can like see a lot more of the actual gore and stuff. But like, even Japan even gets like 2 versions usually of Resident Evil. Like, there's a Z rating version, which is still censored. Is the thing. Like, they still don't show everything. They just show a bit more of the gore than the standard version, which would have it basically completely removed.
That's because there's also the Zero rating of AO, which means adults only, which cannot legally be sold on store shelves, which no one wants because you don't want that. Very
similar to the ESRB in America. They've got an AO rating, which no game, which is where you can't sell it on the shelf, because that rating is basically porn.
Yeah, it's like R18 here in the UK. Like, that's a specifically film-based thing, but it pretty much only exists.
It's just porn.
Just for porn.
Yeah.
Like, God love the people who work in the BBFC and have to just sit and watch that and go, yeah, it's porn.
Yeah, they fucking. I wonder what we're gonna rate this. Filthy sluts from Whore Island.
12.
Well,
Nothing happens.
it's just a gimmick title. To the bin.
That was an interesting little
You
side
rant.
tangent about
Yeah.
I mean, it was gonna come up.
100%.
How violent like the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna talk about my favorite scene at the end.
Go on.
Go ahead.
Teacher guy.
Oh,
Shot multiple times.
and then just gets up.
Sits there, and we're like, "Oh, he's dead." And then
Phone rings.
Gets up. Oh, what's my phone?
I swear to God.
And I was like, "Bulletproof vest."
Yeah, no.
No.
He
no,
just immediately dies.
It wasn't
Yeah.
that, because you see the blood. My immediate
Yeah.
thought was, if all of this was a fucking game show to take it.
Yeah.
See,
That
no,
would have been.
I'd be into that.
No, I would have flipped my shit. I would have been like, we went for all of
Yeah.
that and all of them were just actors. Fuck
Uh-huh.
you.
Like they were all blanks. He's wearing blood packs.
Yeah. All the kids were in on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed that.
No.
That's the part I wouldn't have believed.
Yeah.
Someone would have
Got
let it slip.
beheaded. So I just.
No, I find that like so unintentionally funny in the best way possible.
This is what I'm talking about. Goofy moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that and when he throws the head through the window with the grenade in it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. That's funny.
That last scene though, only Takeshi Kitano like could have pulled that off in
Yeah.
such like.
So chill.
Yeah, so chill. Like he has no care. You think maybe he's not being shot or something, or like maybe miraculously missed every vital organ, and he just finishes the phone call and is like,
Yeah, I don't think I'm coming home.
"Damn
Yeah.
good cookies."
What a final
I
word.
mean, we've all had cookies that are.
Yeah, to die for.
That's a Bond title right there. Cookies to die for. To talk about the teacher guy for a second as well. I liked his character mostly. He's just unhinged.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's just a psychopath.
like
Like through and through.
Yeah, he has.
Almost
issues.
thought it was going to be really creepy when it got to the dream sequence with the girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was kind of scared on where that was going to go.
Yeah, it's purely like a dream sequence, and even when you see it at the end where the director's cut sad and like the requiem, and so you've seen that dream sequence of the dialogue, it's still like nonsensical.
Yeah.
In that sort of dreamlike way,
Like
where
they
like
have a sudden psychic connection.
well, I don't know. I think she's purely just dreaming. It's clear that like from other scenes in the movie, like Kitano has some obsession with
some
her.
But she
thing
was
with
the
her.
only girl that showed up to school
Yeah.
and was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm late." I was like, "Girl,
Yeah, cool.
Woman.
you're the only one here."
Oh no. This isn't, you
No,
know.
not
I
like
thought
that.
it was
Not
gonna
like
go
that.
that way though for like a split second though, and I was scared.
Yeah, same.
But her side of it, like, I genuinely no idea how
Yeah.
to
No
interpret that.
There were too
He's just fucking weird.
many of those sequences near the end. I know it was like a recollection of
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
It just
It's-
felt strange.
It's a weird thing they did for the director's cut, like
I figured it was a director's cut.
the theatrical version, like once he says like run, like
Yeah.
that's it, credits roll.
Good.
Oh, good.
Whereas
That would've been better.
Yeah, I like that more.
special edition or director's cut has like these requiem things,
Yeah,
which are mainly extended sequences of stuff we've already seen in the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, why did we need to see Basketball Boy again?
So the basketball one's interesting in that the only thing it adds is like to show sicko girls distance and anxiety with like dealing with the rest of the class, and like that's it.
Yeah.
That's not the part I'm talking about though.
No, it's the slow
Yeah, the
basketball.
slow
bounce.
backwards basketball.
That,
Almost-
why they
And then the
redo
Almost straight out of Twin
Slow
Peaks.
wave.
It
Yeah.
felt.
The
why-
slow wave.
yeah, why they re-show that scene,
I've
I
read.
don't know, because that whole scene is in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why did we need to see that again? near the
Yeah,
end? Like,
I-
what's the point here? And why is the guy going, take care of her for me? My
Who?
immediate reaction is, did you even talk to her?
High schoolers like she was gonna be my wife.
Yeah. Like you complimented me that one time. I'm now imagining myself longingly looking into your eyes as we get married.
Yeah,
That's high school romance.
It's funny that Nanohara has that like dream sequence,
Mm.
and like there's this whole thing of like he's doing it for his friend.
Yeah.
when
Not.
Sure.
she clearly has the crush on Nanohara himself,
Yeah.
not him. She only asked his best friend to come because she was probably convinced that if he didn't come,
He wouldn't have.
he wouldn't have
Yeah,
come.
exactly.
So, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, he is writing this story as like an English script, and he is absolutely saying, "No, I have to be her boyfriend because it was for a debt to my friend." Like that's a teenage boy mindset right
Yeah.
there.
I have to take care of
I have to
my
take care.
dead best friend's crush.
I have to be the man.
I mean, proceeds to be like fully out for most of it.
Doesn't actually do like a single
Anything.
thing.
He accidentally kills someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then shoots Kitano, but
Yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
He's very passive as a,
Oh, yeah.
as a
Yeah, yeah.
protagonist.
I mean, no one is. Except for the transfer student, no one's put in the arena wheel. No one wants to be
No.
there.
Bandana guy felt more like a protagonist
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
at some points.
Sickle Girl is like the only actually active participant outside of the transfer student who's like, I'm just gonna fucking kill everyone.
I do like that she just like her whole story basically ends with there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she act like a psychopath, you're gonna get done by another psychopath.
Yeah.
That felt like a weirdly like fitting end to her story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad.
Right
she
after
died.
right after we got that sympathetic scene with her.
Yeah.
You can't outcycle the path.
Yeah.
What? What's that?
Your psycho level isn't as high as mine. I can't do the chosen voice today.
It'll come later.
I know.
Yeah.
Classic mistake.
Classic mistake.
We're not doing this now. We're not doing this now. We're doing this later.
That music should have just played whenever whenever Shinra guy came up. I'm calling him Shinra guy because he looks like
Genuinely don't know his name.
he looks like one of the Turks from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, no, he
Not
does.
like a Turkish character. Like they're just called.
They're just called the Turk.
They're just called. I don't know why, but they're basically what he was in this movie.
Fair.
Yeah.
Only with character.
So yeah, that's Battle Royale.
Our first live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great way to start, by the way.
I would
Absolutely.
recommend people watch the director's cut of the movie. Like, it's not too different
It
from the
doesn't add
theatrical cut.
crazy amount of time.
Yeah.
It's
few
only about like
minutes.
8 minutes longer, and that 8 minutes largely comes from like just extending a lot of cuts and scenes and like adding in small things. Like the flashback for Sickle Girl doesn't exist in the theatrical cut in the same way. Like it's much shorter.
Oh, it's shorter. Okay.
I was gonna say if it didn't exist, then wow, yeah, director's cut is necessary.
Yeah, no, it's much longer in the director's cut and is much more like clear as to what
Yeah, because
happens.
I imagine like the whole guy with the doll and stuff and that
Yeah.
whole stuff was very much a director's cut like
Yeah.
added thing, and that very much makes that whole sequence a lot
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
understandable and really creepy.
And then it's like other stuff like just adding more blood through CGI and stuff like that. So like it's an overall more
Complete.
rounded presentation. It does have that drawback of the requiems at the end. Like I think it's more impactful to end on For All You're Worth run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run.
Definitely.
Like that's such a like great little punchy ending.
Absolutely.
So just stop the movie at that point.
Just stop
Yeah.
the movie, yeah.
You don't need to see
Just go
reverse.
up, 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 up.
You don't
Yeah.
need to see Reverse Basketball Boy and Nanahara like doing the Shinji pose.
Yeah. We don't need that like fucking oh god, what's it called? The red room, not the red room. Whatever it is in Twin Peaks, it's like the iconic like, you know,
Yeah,
checkerboard
the hallway
floor.
It's the Red Room, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I can't remember if it's called the red room.
I think it's the Red Room.
It
That's-
might be
Maybe.
the Black Lodge. Sorry, it's called the Black
okay.
Lodge. Because there's also the White Lodge, which is in black and white.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, Twin Peaks.
Where everything is in reverse.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
That was a good movie.
Yeah. We should give scores. We haven't given
Yeah.
scores yet.
9.
wow.
Nice, Melina. I'm asking you because I'm pulling up my Letterboxd, so I can't remember.
6.5.
Wow.
There were some
Damn.
moments where I just got bored as hell.
You
And
are
the
harsh
fucking
this
Requiem.
episode.
I am. Because, yeah, no, it's just... there are moments where it just goes up and down and up and down and up and down tension wise, and I at some point couldn't care any less.
Yeah.
And then they had to build that up again, and that got frustrating. It is
a story of 42 people fighting to the death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
a lot of characters.
And it takes until you have, I think, 8 left that I was able to name all 8.
I do appreciate like the on-screen text of I don't give a shit about the names, it's just how many are left.
Same. Absolutely necessary. Because
again, like the movie does the names, but the book ended every chapter with how many are left, which was a nice way of keeping track, because like sometimes people wouldn't die, but sometimes you get to the end of a chapter and like the number's different, but nothing's happened, so you had like an idea of like
people are dying,
someone's
shit's happening outside of your frame.
There was something else. Some other point I wanted to make real quick. Oh yeah, and there's like when at one scene near the end where he's listing off like a bunch of different people who have who have died. Like there's little flashbacks to the classroom so that you have a better understanding of who they are. Because at that point, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because he's just listing off so many names at that one point. I think it's like when Nanahara's like woken up from being knocked out during the lighthouse, and she's like running him down on the like 12 people who died or something. It's like so many names.
Because he missed like 3 or 4 announcements.
Which means like he was out for a day and a half.
Yeah, a good while.
I mean, it's 4 announcements a day.
Yeah. Oh, so like 18 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time to lose in there. Yeah.
During 3 day killing
streak.
Ooh.
It's fucking lucky.
But yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you though, where like there's times where the pacing's not great. But man, I just love this movie.
If I watched it when I was maybe like 18 or something and rewatched it now, the nostalgia of it would have hit me harder. But now this is something I would be like, you haven't seen it, we're watching it, we're having a few drinks, we're putting this on.
Absolutely.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad we watched it for the podcast finally.
I'm glad this was our first live action.
Yeah, it's a deserved first. Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening to this episode. I can't remember how to outro episodes for some reason.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
It's so cool. We'll see you next time where what are we covering?
We're covering something else.
No, we're going to be doing something else. And so I'll leave you with the last words of the book.
Ooh.
This is how the book ends. I guess spoilers. So we'll say our goodbyes. Bye.
Bye.
Once again, 2 students remain, but of course, now they're with you.